The year Clara loved me the most, she made a promise that we would see the entire world together. Then, she broke her leg while skiing in Switzerland with a new man, and that was the moment I learned she had been cheating on me. I slowly pulled my hand from her grasp and made a point not to look at her again. I had this thought that if you just kept walking west, past where the sun sets and even past the international date line, you could theoretically rewind time, going back to the day before we ever met. If I could do that, then maybe we never would have met at all. Clara's assistant, a young man named Ben, called me while I was sitting at my desk, looking at a postcard she had sent me not long ago. The postcard had a picture of a mountain on it, and on the back, she had written a short, whimsical message. The equator says it misses the snows of Kilimanjaro. P.S. Missing you from Switzerland. I remember thinking at the time how incredibly childish it sounded, but my friend and business partner Sam had thought it was the peak of romance when I showed it to him. He'd said something like, "You guys are the perfect couple. I'm so jealous. You must have other postcards, right? Let me see them." After he left, I took a pen and wrote a reply on a piece of notepad paper. The snows of Kilimanjaro replied, "To exist side by side is a quiet joy." I considered this my response. This little game had become a ritual for us. Every single place Clara traveled for work, she would send me a postcard with a strange little message, and I would write a letter back to her. Sometimes I would put it in the mail, and other times I would just keep it and wait for her to come home so she could read it. This time Clara was in Switzerland for a project review and was scheduled to be there for a full 6 months. It had only been about 3 months, so I wasn't concerned that my letter wouldn't get there before she was set to return. The phone rang just then. Its sound jarringly loud in the quiet room. The next thing I knew, Clara's assistant was on the line, telling me that she had broken her leg while she was out skiing. I was immediately surprised by the news. Just the day before, Clara had called me herself to say that she had 2 full days of back-to-back meetings, and that she would be so busy she wouldn't even have time to eat, let alone make a phone call. How could she have possibly broken her leg skiing today? Then, a sudden wave of concern washed over my initial confusion. Maybe her plans had changed unexpectedly, and she had decided to go skiing on a whim. I told myself I was just being paranoid. After Sam left my office, I went back to my bedroom and pulled out a photograph from our honeymoon. I looked at it for a long time before making a decision. I decided I was going to go to Switzerland. I called Ben and told him my plan, asking him to please keep it a secret from Clara. He agreed with a lot of enthusiasm, and I could hear a hint of a tease in his voice. "Don't you worry, Mr. Evans. I definitely won't tell the boss. But to be honest, she has no idea that I even made this call to you. She specifically told us not to tell you what happened, probably because she didn't want you to worry." I mumbled a quick thank you and hung up the phone. A moment later, I received a text message from Ben that contained the name of the hospital where Clara was staying. I put my phone down on the nightstand and immediately started packing a suitcase. As soon as my flight landed in Switzerland, I went directly to the hospital. I was able to find the place without any trouble at all. It turned out that during our honeymoon here years ago, I had spiked a high fever one night, and this was the very same hospital that Clara had rushed me to in a taxi. When I finally arrived at her floor, I found that the door to her room was slightly ajar. I was just about to knock, a smile already on my face, ready to give Clara a big surprise, when I heard a pleasant-sounding male voice coming from inside the room. "Boss, as your secretary, I often don't understand the things you're talking about, so I went out and bought a world map. I'm planning to study it." "A map?" Clara's laugh was hearty, and it was easy to tell that she was in a very good mood. "You should have bought a globe instead." "Huh? Why a globe? I don't think globes are very useful. Maps are much clearer to read. But honestly, I can't even read a map properly. When I get it, you'll have to teach me." "How did you even become my secretary if you're so dense?" Clara asked. With a map, all you can really do is look at it. But with a globe, when you're bored, you can not only look at it, but you can also give it a spin. Ha ha ha, I never knew you were into puns, Miss Vance. It makes you seem so much younger, like there's no generation gap between us at all. Am I that much older than you? People who can't talk their way out of a paper bag don't make very good secretaries, you know? Clara's tone was light and full of teasing. Haha, Miss Vance, they say there's a generation gap every 3 years. That puts about 3 of them between us. Next time I'll have Ben buy you a copy of The Art of Conversation. Oh, come on, Miss Vance, I know I messed up. Stop roasting me. I just stood there in the hallway, completely stunned. I never went inside the room. A nurse glanced over at me as she passed and walked over. Hallo, mein Herr, kann ich Ihnen helfen? She asked. I quickly shook my head. Hier bin ich leider falsch. I waved off her offer of help and hurried out of the hospital as fast as I could. Once I was outside, I called Ben. He didn't seem surprised at all to hear that I was standing right outside the hospital building. Is there something you wanted me to know? I asked him bluntly. Mr. Evans. He hesitated for a moment. You know? Just tell me what you know, I said. I was far calmer than I ever would have thought I would be in a situation like this. I'm sorry, Mr. Evans. I did want you to find out on purpose. I'm an assistant, and he's a secretary, and we're always clashing over work-related things. He's constantly tattling on me and trying to get Miss Vance to fire me. I listened quietly until he was finished explaining himself. Just as I was about to speak, he continued, I'm sorry, Mr. Evans, but I also genuinely wanted you to know the truth. I've been with the company for a long time now. I've known for ages how much you and Miss Vance love each other. Every single time you came to the office, everyone would talk about how envious they were of your relationship. For things to get to this point, I just feel like it's not fair to you. Thank you, I said. I'm going to hang up now. Even saying just that took all the energy I had left. I took a few deep breaths of the frigid air, trying my best to compose myself. And then I called Clara. What's wrong, Daniel? Why are you calling? She asked. I just got out of a meeting and I'm having lunch right now. And I miss you a lot. I almost laughed out loud. I hadn't even started asking her any questions, and she was already rushing to construct a detailed story about what she was doing and what she had done. I wondered if it was a guilty conscience. I had a dream that you were in an avalanche and got hurt, I said. When I woke up, my heart was pounding in my chest, and I felt sick with worry. I could hear her breath catch on the other end of the line. What are you talking about? Her voice was as steady as it always was, as gentle and lovely as I always remembered it. I wouldn't let myself get hurt. Don't worry, honey. Just wait for me to come back. I'll be home in a little over 2 months. Yesterday, we were scouting a new mall for a potential investment, and I saw a jacket that would look perfect on you. I already bought it. You're going to love it when you see it. I just said, and then absent-mindedly ended the call. After standing out in the cold wind for a while longer, I finally started to feel the chill seep into my bones. I pulled my coat tighter around myself and hurried away from the hospital, ducking into a nearby convenience store to get warm. Inside the store, I made another call. I called my sister, Emily, to ask her where the keys to our family's house in Bern were. She paused for a second before answering. What are you doing in Switzerland all of a sudden? Before I could repeat my question, she continued. Clara is there on a business trip. Are you two meeting up with her? You two are still so lovey-dovey. Can you just answer my question, Emily? You don't need a key, she said. There's a couple who looks after the house, the old caretakers. You know them. But our aunt made all the arrangements. I forget the specific details. I think they keep the place tidy, but the house isn't that great. I remember we have another property in the next canton over. Why don't you two stay there? Didn't Aunt Sarah sign both of those properties over to you? Hold on, let me call Daniel and ask. Are you in a rush to move in? If not, you could just stay in a hotel for a few nights. Maybe it was because the convenience store was so quiet, but I could clearly hear someone talking on her end of the line. The voice was definitely not my brother-in-law's. Emily, did you go back for Sophie's birthday? Sophie is my sister's daughter. The other end of the line went completely silent. The sheer absurdity of the whole situation hit me at that moment. Emily, I said, when you were cheating, did you ever stop to think that your own brother would get cheated on too? Is this some kind of karma? I hung up the phone and sent a text message to Clara's secretary. I'm at my house in Bern. Tell Clara to come over. I'll send you the address. By the time Clara arrived, Mr. Schmidt had just finished making my bed and was about to go to the kitchen to make me some hot soup. I told him not to bother and convinced him to go to bed for the night. Just then, Mrs. Schmidt showed Clara into the room. We just stared at each other from across the living room, neither of us saying a single word. After the Schmidts had left us alone, Clara walked toward me. For the first time that I could ever remember, there was a visible flicker of panic in her eyes. She forced a smile onto her face. You actually came. Were you worried about me? She took my hand as if it were the most natural thing in the world, squeezing it gently. You're freezing. I still didn't speak. She just stood there in front of me, as if she were waiting for me to pass some kind of judgment on her. It was warm inside the house, so I had taken my coat off when I first came in. She looked at me, a clear joy in her eyes. You must not have missed me enough. I've been gone for 3 months and you've gotten thinner. I thought my Daniel would waste away pining for me. She said it half jokingly, as if she was waiting for me to give her a hug. Her eyes held a look of what seemed like drowning tenderness, as if she still treasured me. But I knew it was all a lie. I pulled my hand away from hers. Clara, which of your words are true and which of them are lies? The warmth on her face immediately froze. I couldn't even be bothered to look at her anymore. It all felt so fake, so disgusting. I thought that I would fall apart, that I would completely lose control of myself, but all I really felt was a profound sense of confusion. I couldn't understand how the Clara I knew, the wonderful person she had always been, could have ended up in this situation. How did she become the very type of person I despised the most? Years ago, my mother had walked away from a huge company right here in this city, from immense wealth, all to leave with another man. Later, my father finally agreed to a divorce, but then she changed her mind and tried to leave him, the innocent party, with absolutely nothing. They were at a stalemate for a long time. 2 days later, my father died suddenly in a car crash. That simplified things for her. My mother announced that she was remarrying immediately, and so that well-dressed man walked into our home carrying a newborn baby. I was only 6 years old at the time, clutching a dirty teddy bear and hiding in a corner of the basement as he pointed at me and snarled, "That little thing that bitch birthed." At the time, my sister was stuck in New Zealand because of a passport issue and couldn't come home. Back then, it was a 12-year-old Clara who took me by the hand and led me home. My father and her father were good friends, and I had always looked up to her like an older sister. I was crying uncontrollably. She took my dirty teddy bear from my hands, draped her school jacket over my shoulders, knelt down, and hugged me, telling me not to cry. We were childhood sweethearts. We grew up together. The boy I was then grew up. But the girl she was then, where did she go? It turned out that nothing had really changed. I had just managed to climb out of one deep pit only to fall straight into another one. Is he that much better than me in every way? I don't get it, Clara. The words had barely left my mouth before the tears started streaming down my face. I thought I could hold them in. How did it come to this? I looked at her, feeling completely lost. I was wrong, Daniel. But you promised. When you married me at 27, you said you knew what I was afraid of. That you'd never let me end up in that situation, never let me end up like my dad. Is this how you keep your promises? Is it because you think I'll believe anything you say? So you feel no guilt when you lie to me? No fear of being caught? Anyone could have deceived me. But why did it have to be you, Clara? There was nothing more to say. I pushed her out of the inner room and towards the front door. She grabbed my arm. It's my fault, Daniel. Please don't get upset. I glared at her. Let go. She fell silent and released her grip on me. As I was closing the door, she braced her arm against it, the veins popping on her skin. Let me in. I'll explain, Daniel. Did you sleep with him? What? Did you kiss him? She didn't answer. So what is there to explain? I don't like him. I was just drunk. Do you even believe the words that are coming out of your own mouth? I forced the door shut, but suddenly I heard someone shouting from outside. Miss Vance! Mr. Evans! I looked past the door and saw him. It was really Clara's secretary, Mark. He walked forward step by step as Clara's anger grew more palpable. Get out, she said. Miss Vance, who told you to come here? Mr. Evans, we have a son. You should let her go. I looked up in shock, my heart twisting painfully in my chest. That's your business, Clara said, her voice sharp with rage. But he's your child, he exclaimed, as if in disbelief. Clara's face was ashen. What you have isn't my child, it's yours. Miss Vance, do you think I would ever acknowledge him? As they argued, Clara easily pushed open the nearly closed door, pulled me back inside, and pressed something cold and hard into my hand. I looked up at her. Are you insane? Believe it or not, this was the first and last time. You know I love you, Daniel Evans. Daniel, you can't give me a death sentence for one mistake. Would you stop acting crazy? Trust me one more time. If it ever happens again, you can kill me. I shook my head, a tearful laugh escaping my lips. I don't trust you. You know that. Once I've been lied to, I can never trust again. Let's get a divorce. I booked a flight home right away. Returning to the home Clara and I had shared for years, everything felt like some kind of sick joke. I sat in our bedroom, staring at a note she had taped to the wall. Across 7 continents, 8 planets, 204 countries, and 809 islands, you're the only one I love. She wrote that with such conviction after our trip to Iceland. But she wasn't the one who loved me the most. The only person who loved me the most was me, because I'm the only one who will never betray myself. The North Atlantic current will always warm Murmansk, and I'll always hold you tight. I'll face the wind for you. She wrote that one when we watched the northern lights from that ice-free port. It used to be true. Back then, she was a little taller than me. When she led me away from my house and said, "It's okay, don't be scared." It was true, but not anymore. That was all in the past. Things change, people change. The day after I got back home, Clara returned too. I thought it was pointless. Why would she abandon a perfectly good business deal for this? She nearly knocked the door down trying to get in, but I didn't budge. Then, while sitting in the living room, I heard arguing outside. I opened the door to see 2 people who looked like they were ready to tear each other apart. One was my sister, Emily. The other was Clara. It was a showdown between 2 cheaters. It was hard to say who was the worse of the 2. Clara Vance, you have the nerve to come back here? I trusted you with my brother, and this is how you treat him, huh? Do you have any conscience at all? Let go of me, Emily. You're one to talk. You think you're so clean you dare say you haven't been to all those parties? You have the gall to talk about me? You were sleeping with your secretary. How can you even stand to look at yourself? Stop putting on a show. I'm telling you, Clara, I'm going to help draft the divorce papers, and you two are getting a divorce immediately. I thought you were some kind of saint, but it turns out you're just as bad as the rest of them." "I'm bad? Worse than you, Emily. Let me tell you, this is between me and Daniel. We will figure it out without you arranging our lives. A divorce? Why would I get a divorce? I'll die before I get a divorce." You bitch! I can't stand you, Clara. When you got married 5 years ago, I told you if you ever did anything to hurt my brother, don't blame me for turning my back on you. I said divorce, and I meant now, yes. My brother grew up without a mom or dad, with no one to stand up for him. But that doesn't give you the right to walk all over him. Emily, why should I get a divorce? You think I'm dirty? Am I dirtier than you? You never missed one of those parties, did you? Your daughter was at home with a raging fever, practically dying, while you were out messing around. You think you're so perfect? Who are you to judge me? I stood there and watched them for a full 5 minutes, too tired to say a single word. A woman who gets called a slut by another slut can't be anything good. "If you don't stop, I'm calling the cops," I finally said, unable to take it anymore. They both stopped, their faces still flushed with anger. "Clara, let's talk," I said. She hesitated, standing there panting. "I am not getting a divorce. I'll die before I get a divorce. Daniel, I told you, you can't give me a death sentence for one accidental mistake." "What right do you have to say no? Take a look at yourself in the mirror. You don't deserve my brother," my sister snarled, pointing a finger at her. "You're a year older than me, Emily. You've got some nerve." "Stop it," I said, feeling utterly exhausted by the whole drama. "Clara, come inside. The divorce papers are on the table. If they look okay to you, then sign them." "I will never, ever divorce you." Her eyes were bloodshot. She rubbed them carelessly, her face a mask of stubbornness. I couldn't help but laugh, though I'm sure it looked more like a grimace. Was this her, the ever-rational woman, losing her mind for me? It was too late. Some lines, once they are crossed, can't be forgiven. "Do you really think it's up to you?" I took a deep breath. "Clara, you know I hate betrayal more than anything. The day you chose to cheat on me, you should have known that it was the end for us." I turned to go back inside, but my sister grabbed my arm. "I want to watch you both sign. What if she talks you out of it and you suddenly change your mind?" I slowly pried her fingers off my arm with my other hand. "Emily, I'll say it again. When you were cheating, did you ever stop to think that your own brother would get cheated on too?" "That's completely different. You can't compare the two." "No." My throat felt raw, even just from talking. "Every time I call you my sister, I feel like I'm betraying your husband. You think you're so cool, don't you, Emily? You think you're so good to me? But when you were out partying, did you ever think about him?" "Yes. You say I still have a sister, that I have you to back me up. But what about my brother-in-law? Just because he doesn't have brothers or sisters to fight for him, does that mean you can just betray him whenever you want?" "Huh, Emily? You know how our father died. When did you become just like her, Emily?" I stood there, feeling like I couldn't breathe. It was all too much. Finally, it had all happened. The things that had trapped me in my past would continue to trap me until the day I died. My mother cheated, my sister cheated, my wife cheated. Some things never change. I looked at Clara, standing there. For a split second, she looked just like the girl from my memories. "It's okay, don't be scared. Come home with your sister, I'll protect you. Don't cry, Daniel. Here, wipe your tears. It'll be better when you grow up. When you're older, you won't need a guardian anymore. Daniel, you remember my dad, right? He was your dad's friend. Why don't you come stay with us for a while? A dead end is a dead end, because you can never escape it. It just keeps trapping you." In the living room, I poured myself a glass of hot water and drank it quietly. Clara stood there, and in a few quick motions, she ripped up the papers I had printed out. I glanced at her, and I saw defeat written all over her face. She was only 32. Your 30s are supposed to be your prime. She had destroyed my marriage, and in the process, she had destroyed herself. It was all karma. Daniel Evans, you want to divorce me this badly? You don't want a single thing that isn't yours? Isn't it good enough that I'm not leaving you with nothing? I said quietly, though my heart felt like it had been ripped to shreds. Leaving me with nothing? I wish you would, Daniel. But did you? No, you gave me a death sentence, divided everything up cleanly. You even calculated the cash value of every single gift I've ever given you and listed it on this paper, demanding to pay me back. Do you hate me that much? You won't keep a single thing that's mine. Is there a problem? I just want a divorce. As for your things, you're right. I won't be keeping them. It would be too painful to have them around. Every time I looked at them, it would be another stab in the heart. Pain is something to be avoided at all costs, not something to indulge in by staring at old memories. To my surprise, Clara walked right up to me and dropped to her knees. I don't want a divorce, and I won't get one. Daniel, don't force me. I'm not letting go. She grabbed my hand, her grip so tight it hurt. I'm not letting you go. Your sister already left, and in 10 minutes a team of bodyguards will be here. I'm not letting you leave, Daniel. No one is going to tear us apart. Are you insane? I struggled, but I couldn't break free from her grasp. Daniel, you can't do this to me. We'll find a way to have kids. I'll love you both. Do you want our child to grow up without a mother and father just like you did? I tore my hand away with all my might and slapped her across the face. A sharp pain shot through my own heart. I grew up without a mother and father? Ha, ha, ha. And I want my child to have the same? Clara, are you even listening to yourself? Did I ask for any of this? The person who ruined our marriage wasn't me, was it? I'm not getting a divorce, Daniel. I'll die before I get a divorce. Unless you kill me, you'll never be rid of me. No one in this world could ever love you more than I do. She choked back a sob. I gave you a chance in Switzerland, Daniel, but you didn't take it. Since you didn't, I'm not letting go. I will die before I divorce you. I am not getting a divorce. Don't push me, Daniel. I don't want to lock you up. I felt like all the strength had been drained from my body, and I slumped onto the sofa. Are you trying to kill me, Clara? I covered my face with my hands, my shoulders shaking. The tears wouldn't stop, and a sour knot formed in my chest. You know that I'm the one who's in the most pain right now, and you're still pushing me like this. You know that for the rest of my life, every time I see you, I'll be reminded of your betrayal, and you still want to lock me up with you. Are you trying to drive me to my death? Do you want to be the one to find my body? Clara, let go. I'm begging you. I can't stand being here for one more second. I'll go crazy. I really can't take it anymore. She knelt there, a lost look on her face. Clara, for the sake of the love we once had, please stop pushing me. After I said that, I refused to say another word. And she just knelt there, letting out a stifled, mournful cry. After a long moment, she picked up the pen, signed her name on the paper, looked at me for a long time, and then walked out. I couldn't hold it back any longer. I broke down and sobbed. Pretending to be calm is so damn hard. Pretending not to care is even harder. 3 years of marriage, all just a long dream. It's over now. It's all over. I sat there until late at night, feeling dazed. So many things she'd said were stuck in my head. It hurt to remember them, and it hurt to force myself to forget. You really don't like me? How could you not like me? But I really like you, Daniel. Will you marry me? Dad, I have something to tell you. I brought Daniel home today because we have an announcement to make. We're getting married. Dad, I'm serious. What I feel for Daniel is real. You can rest easy. Dad, what are you worried about? Shouldn't you be happy? Didn't you and Daniel's father used to say that if you both had a boy and a girl and they got along, you'd arrange a marriage? Well, Emily and I are both girls. But now there's Daniel. Daniel, I will love you with all my heart. No one will ever love you more than I do, and no one will ever love me more than you do. From now on, I'll never love anyone else the way I love you, and no one else will ever have what we have. The perfect timing, the connection from our youth. It turned out, some things you can never really forget. Maybe Clara and I were never right for each other in the first place. If I had known, we should have just stayed friends, or I should have always thought of her as an older cousin. Then we wouldn't have ended up like this. But she was the person who filled my youth and the first half of my life. Back then, who would have been content just being friends? And so we came to this. After the divorce was finalized, I moved out of our house and picked a new place at random from a list of properties I owned. Once the movers were done, I went to my studio. By then, it had been 2 weeks since the divorce. When I walked in, everyone was buzzing, crowded around a computer screen. When he saw me, my partner Sam pointed and shouted, "Ah, Daniel, did you know? I saw your work in the collection of World Press photo winners." "Yeah, I saw it," I said honestly. Another wave of exclamations went through the room. "Daniel, you're way too low-key. You were just going to wait for us to find out? You weren't even going to tell us?" "Seriously, if I got a winner's notification, the first thing I'd do is blow up the group chat, bang pots and pans at home, and wait for you all to show up for dinner. If the neighbor's dog didn't know, it's only because I failed to inform it. I'd even have to set up a special table for the dogs, a citywide celebration." "Ha ha ha ha, Pika, you're being so dramatic." Everyone burst out laughing, and I laughed along with them. I'd been so wrapped up in my own world lately, I hadn't seen such warm, genuine smiles in a long time. Their joy was infectious, and my mood lifted. My work probably only got selected because it fit the theme well. There's still a big gap. Did you guys look closely at the photos that were ranked higher? They were incredible, so much better than mine. Whoa, Daniel, we can't handle this humble bragging. Ah, shut up, boss, you need to shut up right now. No more modesty. World Press photo. Why didn't they give me an award? I shoot really hard too. Is it this one, Daniel? Sam quickly pulled up a specific photo. This is your favorite, isn't it? Nice. We're totally on the same wavelength. I couldn't help but clap him on the shoulder. I had only mentioned it in passing once, but Sam knew exactly which one I liked the best. "This is a great start to April," Sam said, getting up to pour me a glass of hot water before collapsing back into his chair. "Yeah, it is," I said, taking a deep breath. "I have something else to tell you guys, though you've probably already guessed. I'm divorced." The smiles vanished instantly. Pete, who had been sitting on the counter drinking a Coke, froze mid-sip and whimpered, "Daniel, when I saw it in the City Times, I thought they were just making it up." I walked over and smiled at him. "Why the long face? It's just another big event for April, right? You all must have heard something by now. I don't think it's a bad thing. We're all partners here. I was going to have to tell you sooner or later." I let out a sigh of relief. "My plan is this. The studio's focus this year, we're going to shift our attention to humanities and the environment. I think that's going to be a major trend. Then next year, you guys can go sweep the natural landscapes here in the country. And then the year after that, we'll all go see the Northern Lights together. We'll go shoot the port of Murmansk. It's time we did a project like that. Sam, you'll organize it, and I'll fund the whole thing. What do you say we all go together? A company trip." Everyone finally broke into happy smiles again. In my office, I was reading a landscape photography magazine while Sam paced back and forth, making me dizzy. "All right, buddy. Just say what's on your mind. Aren't you getting dizzy?" He finally sat down across from me. Sam looked at me, his eyes filled with a mix of emotions, but he didn't say a word. "Hey, don't worry about it. I'll get through this." After years of being best friends and business partners, I knew exactly what he was thinking. "Okay, I believe you. Dude, you have to get through this. The lonely wolf has it all, except for good luck, he sighed, bringing up our old inside joke. I couldn't help but smile. All right, enough with the drama. The lonely wolf was talked to death by Sam. Screw you, I'm trying to be concerned, and you're not even grateful. Sam and I were great business partners. Years ago, I'd finished my university credits early and was planning to head home. Before I left, on a whim, I went to shoot the Northern Lights, and he was the first friend I made there. We both studied photography, and after talking for a bit, we realized we clicked and decided to travel together. At the time, he was planning a photography exhibition about loneliness and insisted that I be his model. The theme was the lonely wolf. The far north was brutally cold, with an unparalleled sense of solemnity and sadness, but also a kind of lonely punk vibe. We stood against the Siberian winds and finished the shoot. The result was an entire exhibition of photos of me wandering through misty, snow-covered landscapes or standing in the quiet, blue-toned night. Sam said later that just by standing there, I gave off a feeling of not belonging to anyone, of being unattainable. He'd picked the right theme and the right model. The exhibition was a huge success, and Sam became a minor celebrity. My hands, however, got frostbite. So the running joke between us was that the lonely wolf actually froze to death because he had to pose in a thin jacket in sub-zero weather. Later, when we returned home, we were shocked to discover we both lived in the same city and super close to each other. So we decided on the spot to open a photography studio together. Over the years, we've hired some great talent, attracted some excellent landscape photographers, and established a long-term partnership with the biggest production company in the area. You could say our startup was a success. Back then, we were in such a rush I needed to get home to do post-production, so I just casually asked where you lived and if you wanted to head back with me. I never expected we'd end up getting off at the same airport, Sam said, turning into a chatterbox as he reminisced. When we were shooting up there, we were so tight on time we never made it to the ice-free port. I've always regretted that, and now you've gone and arranged it for everyone. Yeah, taking you all with me. Aren't you happy? Sam frowned. Focusing on humanities and environmental protection this year is a great idea. But why do we have to stay in the country shooting landscapes next year? We could go to Murmansk next year. Nope. I popped a small cookie in his mouth. Not next year. If you guys go abroad to shoot next year, I'll be jealous. So you all have to stay here and keep me company. We'll go together the year after. Seeing you have it all planned out, I feel a lot better. Man, Sam said, getting all emotional again. That year we were shooting, watching you from a third-person perspective in the snow. I just thought, you've never belonged to anyone. That's what I thought then, and I still think it now. You're like an ocean current, he said, clicking his tongue. A willow tree? No, an ocean current? Oh, I had to laugh. Your pronunciation is terrible. How am I like an ocean current? What kind? Like the west wind drift, destined to circle the globe, unstoppable by anyone. I thought about it. In the southern hemisphere, the west wind drift connects the Pacific, Atlantic, and Indian Oceans, forming a current that encircles the entire globe. Sam, he had a surprisingly good memory. No one is indispensable. It's just that if I can't forget in 5 years, then I'll take 10. I looked at him and stuffed another cookie in his mouth. Don't choke on this one. Honestly, focusing on my career is so much better, I said, suddenly feeling the need to say it out loud. On my way home, I was about to step into a convenience store to take a closer look at something in the window when someone called my name. Daniel Evans. I turned and saw Clara's secretary, Mark. The next second, he was blocked by a group of people. A line of them stood between us, forming a solid wall around me. The man in the lead spoke up. Sir, we're bodyguards hired by Miss Vance. That's when I realized it hadn't been my imagination. I really was being followed lately. Then one of the others spoke up timidly. "Not me. A few of us were sent by Miss Evans." The two groups had mixed together. Did they not even realize it themselves? Mark started screaming like a madman. "Why? How is this fair, Daniel Evans? Why won't she even acknowledge my son while you get to live your life just fine? It's not fair. She told me she liked me. Since you don't want her anymore, why won't you let me have her? I'm dying. I love her so much. Yes, your family is rich and your sister is powerful, but my family is just as good. My parents only have one son, me. I even took a job as her secretary just to be near her." "When you joined the company 3 years ago, Clara was already married. As your parents' only son, are you proud of yourself for destroying someone else's marriage? Does that make them look good?" Our commotion had already attracted a crowd of onlookers. Someone even pointed and said, "Look, are they filming a TV show?" I left quickly. I ran into Clara at the door to my new apartment. I guess I should have expected it. "Is there really no going back, Daniel?" In the few weeks since I'd last seen her, she had regained her polished, executive demeanor, but the confidence was gone from her face. "Don't do this, Clara. Don't make it so that the only memories I have of you are bad ones. Let's leave each other with a little dignity." "Okay." She smoothed her hair, turning her head to look around the hallway. When she faced me again, her eyes were red. "I'm sorry," Clara said, her whole being radiating sorrow. I didn't say anything. I didn't know what to say. One word was too many, and 1,000 were not enough. "Daniel, I never really liked him, not even a little. It was just a stupid mistake. Clara, it's time to turn the page. Let's not talk about it anymore. Don't make me hate you even more." I went inside and didn't look back. From now on, the girl who took my hand and led me home. The young woman full of life who said she wanted to marry me and travel the world with me. The more mature, successful woman she became, and the woman who later betrayed and deceived me. They would all slowly fade from my memory. I would still hate. It would still be hard to forget. But it's over now. There's no need to bring it up again. What 5 years can't fade, I'll let 10 years erase. The only person who loves me the most is me, because I'm the only one who will never betray myself. It will always be this way. I've finally learned to stop looking for security in other people. I smiled and told myself, love isn't everything. There's no need to compromise. I still have a long, long way to go on my own. That's the freedom I want. A long journey until the very end.